At the end of each day, are you confident that you've earned your sleep for that day? What's so special about you that that girl should pay attention to you at all? And why should your boss give you a raise? On today's Crafting Men episode, we're going to be talking about how to answer questions like this by knowing your value in your own life. But before we get into that, be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of the upcoming episodes. I'm a businessman by trade.
Today, you become a man of business.
So the common vernacular and terms that I use are things like return on investment, cost management, revenue modeling. These are the terms that we use within business to discuss whether or not something is worth doing. Frankly, I don't sell things and I've never sold anything in my life. I have no intention on convincing someone to spend money. I have every intention to decide whether or not something makes sense. If it makes sense, then do it. If it doesn't make sense, then don't do it.
That is illogical.
And the only way you can make that decision is by knowing what the expectations and the needed value coming out of it is. When was the last time you thought of yourself in such a situation? Or have you ever considered that? Let's look at the metaphor. A return on investment, or ROI, is the concept of what is the value that something will produce over the duration of its ownership. A house, for instance, your return on investment is a place of security, a home to live with your family that will appreciate in value over the time that you own it. So that way when you sell it, you can get more money out of it. A car, on the other hand, is not about the money that it will gain. Instead, it's about the autonomy that it will provide for you so you can have that freedom of owning your own source of transportation to go about your life as you wish. In terms of a relationship, what is your return on investment to other people in your life? What value do they get from you because you are in their life? And vice versa, what value do you get from them because they're in yours? If we consider cost management, these are the things in a business. You have to pay your payroll, you have to maintain the lights, right? All your utilities. You're going to have to pay for all the infrastructure and all the expenses that keep the business running. For you in a personal life, your costs are the things that you owe other people because they're in your life and you're in theirs.
You owe it to me.
Now the revenue is the other side of this. Revenue is money coming into a business, right? So this is what you expect from other people because you're in each other's lives. So what do you expect from other people? And are you getting it from other people? Businesses actually have entire departments that just chase their vendors to get paid. And so how much attention do you focus on something like that, what people owe you? Or do you allow them to use your costs without ever compensating you for it? I found it's very important to view relationships like this, not because relationships should be transactional, but because we should understand that there is an expected interaction in play here. In business, I don't look to become a vendor with someone. I look to become a partner with them so I can understand their problems and their trials, and then together we see if we can solve it as a partnership. And if as a partnership we can solve it, then happy day. If not, then I'm still happy to tell them, hey, if I were your partner, I'd be doing this. Good luck. Hope you and the other guy work. I like to view people the same way in my personal life. It's not about what I get out of people per se. It's about what together we can do with our lives. Because we don't live in silos. No matter how isolated technology makes us, no matter how many stupid quotes you'll see about how the more intelligent you are, the more isolated you are. This isn't true. We are a social creature. We want to have people in our lives. We need a network to accomplish things. And so the question isn't necessarily transactional, but there is an element of why do you have these people in your life? You have to understand that because then that is how you can understand why they have you in your life, why someone should pay attention to you, what your worth is. Because now you know how you fit within the relationship and within the social constructs that you've entered. Now, when I talk to youth, I see an interesting trend that is very similar to that of a lot of colleagues I have within the business world. It's very easy to sit there and look at the world through the lens of your own perspective because it's by default the easiest one, right? It's also the one that we prefer the most because we like to be right. If you look at the amount of products that fail, I've seen a lot of statistics around being upwards to 70% of new products fail. You have to ask yourself, how does a smart, capable person and a smart, capable company full of smart, capable people produce at a 70% failure rate?
Did I do that?
And it's quite simple. It's people that go in there with an emotional investment out of what they want people to buy instead of them understanding what people want to buy from them. It really is that simple. And it's the same in relationships. Have you ever seen those people and all those videos about why am I single? I know I'm so amazing. I have all these things to offer. Why don't people date me? There's all kinds of trending videos and different categories of videos you'll find on TikTok, YouTube, etc., where you have these single people that are out there bemoaning to the world how amazing they are, and if only someone would just see them, then they would have an amazing partner for life.
I just spent like an hour scrolling through my own TikTok videos, and honestly, I can't find a single reason why I'm not married.
I am the world's most undateable boy or man.
The root issue here is that you're looking at what you feel that you have to offer, and you're not understanding what someone wants you to offer. So if you find yourself acting like one of these people, just stop. Don't do it. It's not healthy. It's not productive. It doesn't move your situation forward, and it doesn't help you see a way forward at all. Instead, you're investing into victimology, and you're starting to resent the very people that you should be excited to interact with. Have you ever seen that person that never got a raise, but never really deserved the raise, and rather than understanding why they didn't deserve it, they just got jaded? But I want it now! And then they just quit, went to another company, or so on. These are people that are stinting their professional growth, their personal growth, because rather than understanding why someone is saying no to them, they just try to find a shortcut. I've worked with a lot of people that have career hopped, I don't know how many times. They have a new job, a new career, it seems, every 18 months or something like that. And at the end of the day, every company is wrong. Every company, every manager, no one understands them. You'll see the same thing in the dating world. How many people you hear, man, my last 10 relationships, they all just sucked. To me, it's the simplest answer here, okay? What is the common denominator? If you've had 10 people date one person and all 10 people are horrible, but this one person is God's gift to earth, what is more likely to be true? This God's gift to earth is kind of crappy in relationships, or this God's gift to earth has no clue how to find a good partner for a relationship? Same thing with employers. You're always going to have good and bad managers everywhere you go. It's a fact of life. You're always going to have things you like or don't like about work. But if you have someone who is a serial job hopper, who's more likely to be right? Every single company that they've ever worked at that is still retaining lots of people who are successful, they're all somehow or another wrong and maniacal organizations of corporate evilness, or this person just doesn't know how to manage themselves and their expectations of their career. Tell me what you think in the comments below, but personally, I'm a keep it simple, stupid type of a person, and I look for the lowest common denominator. So when we talk about value, it's important that you flip things around and not look at it from your perspective and look at it from the other person's point of view.
From my point of view, the Jedi are evil.
I want you to think for a second about interacting with someone who only comes to you when they need something from you, but they never ever offer anything in return, not even a simple thank you. Is that the person that you want to have keep coming by? Is that the person that you would be willing to continually dish out favors for, to make sacrifices of your time, your energy, and your resources? Of course not. That is not a person that is healthy or productive in your life. That is someone who is a parasite. For some strange reason, we fail to remember this little detail when we are coming to other people. The difficult part when you are preparing for the discussion about a raise is usually it's very emotional. It's very directed on what you want or you need out of the increase of earnings that you are seeking. What you are not able to do when you are this emotional, however, is articulate the value you are producing and therefore justifying the increase of earnings. Unfortunately, this is something that plagues almost everyone that wants to have an increase in salary. The inability to see the other side of the table. All of us like to think that we're the best worker or that we have the most well-deserved praise. But when you flip it around and you look at an entire team, you look at the direction that a company is going, you look at the economic circumstances and the value of each individual role, you might be the best person on the team, but in the role that you're performing, it might be capped out on earnings. There's only so much worth that you need from a particular role because that role can only provide so much value. And you have to tie your worth to the value of your role in order to justify an increase of payment for you. Think about it in your personal life. Would you pay someone too much money to fix your house? If they came in and they said, hey, normally this job costs about $10,000, but I kind of have a problem with my personal finances, so I'm going to charge you twice that today because that's what I need. You're going to tell them to go fly kites faster than you can think of. This is the conversation that you're having, however, when you go to your boss and you try to justify a raise based on what you need as opposed to what you have provided for the company. Perhaps you need to look at a different role within the company in order for you to be able to earn more. If you have a very specific and refined skill set that is in a dwindling demand, then you're not going to get much of a pay increase. So it really is that simple. It's understanding your value case. What is your return on investment to the company that you work for? If you're able to produce more value, then you should be able to share that value by an increase in earnings. If you are not increasing the value that you're providing for the company, then the immediate answer is going to be, no, we're not going to give you a raise. Now, I would bet the reason that most people don't get raises is, first and foremost, they're having an emotional conversation instead of a business conversation. And second of all, I think that most people don't understand when they've actually hit the cap of earnings potential that their role actually provides for them. Same thing for that pretty girl that you might see. What do you have to offer her? It's very easy for people to look at someone who is very fit and very attractive, very sexy, and say, oh, I want that person in my life. Someone who has a bright outlook on life with a lot of goals and ambition. I want that person in my life. How much ambition do you have? When was the last time you stretched yourself outside of your comfort zone simply because you wanted to be a better version of you? Then what are you really offering someone when you're approaching them for a relationship?
They get to be with me.
I think this is very important for people because first and foremost, you need to know who you are and where you're going in this life. Once you know those things, then you can say what you are looking for and what you need out of a relationship. I think too often we have people that think that all relationships are a carbon copy of each other, which on a macro level and data analytical level, perhaps it's true, but every individual relationship is unique to itself. What my wife and I have is not something that I would have if I married someone else. It's because it's unique to us. We've grown together almost like a living organism. The marriage and relationships adapt. And because you have two individual living people that are adapting and growing within it, it's as unique as the synapses in your brain. There are some certain commonalities. There's some trends. Absolutely. You can draw all kinds of learnings from data analysis on the macro level, but when you're in the micro application of it, it is fundamentally different and nuanced for everyone. So you cannot say just because you saw a pretty face that you are the right fit for that lady. You have to get to know her. You have to understand something about her. Yes, it starts with just a pretty face and you like what you're looking at, but what is your real conversation? Is it, I think you're pretty and I want you in my life? Or is it, I'm going places in this life and I'm looking for a partner. I'm looking for someone to help me grow and be the best version of me. If you're able to have a conversation like that, then you're already at a better start point than what the gawker, the window licking person of, I like you, you're pretty. But the unfortunate thing is, there's a lot of guys that actually take that approach. And a lot of guys think that just because they have a six-pack or a nice set of arms, that the girls should want them. Now, if you want a girl that's that easily wooed, then have at it, man.
If your man complains that you're expensive, just tell him that there are other girls out there in different price ranges and remind him that you always get what you pay for.
If you want someone who's real and an actual person, a partner, then that ain't coming anywhere near it. So it's going to come back to like what I said earlier when I said I don't sell things. I look at what the requirements are and I look at how to solve the requirements. If it makes sense, do it. If it doesn't, don't. That's the value case that you have to offer to a woman in your life, to your employer, to your friends, to whomever you're interacting with. Know what they require of you. Know what you have to offer them. Know if it's a fit. So remember, if you want to articulate your value, you have to know who you are and what you're wanting to provide, what you're good at providing. And then after you know and understand that, you have to know and understand whether or not the person you're talking to wants and cares and needs what you have to offer. If you don't know, first of all, what you're good at, and second of all, what they need, then you're guessing. And the stress and the churn in your life with your relationships and the pursuits is only going to cause doubt in your life because you're going to have failure after failure after failure. That is going to be very demoralizing. Instead, flip it around and say, I know I'm good at this. I know that so-and-so needs X. When you know both of those, you can still fail because that's life. But you have a much firmer foundation of ensuring success in your life. And that's what matters because as you get the wins, you learn how to repeat them. As you repeat wins, more and more confidence, more and more purpose start coming. I hope you enjoyed the time with me today. If you found value in the video, by all means, subscribe to my channel and share this with your friends and family. In the meantime, keep working on what you want to do and how you want to produce value in this life. You will find opportunities to use it and get gains in return.